Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mohammed Talal Marka. I'm really happy to have you all here together with us to join us for our second session of Disrupt Asia. Now, I hope you had the time to walk around, eat, have a drink, and sit here a bit more relaxingly because we are about to dive into a session which brings out global expansion, creativity, and a pitch deck. So I hope you all are ready for an engaging session. And to all the startup entrepreneurs out there, if you're like me, who started your own company and came here to seek opportunities, I highly request you pay attention and you speak up whenever you have to. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Let us have a round of applause for everyone that's here today. Come on. So now, as we await, our first panel discussion will begin in just a moment. We will be diving straight into one of the most exciting conversations, which brings in AI and art. From art to automation. I would love to welcome our moderator, Mr. Marcel. Please bring yourself up on stage. Let's give us a round of applause for our moderator, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Marcel will kindly introduce the panelists and begin the session.
Good afternoon, Colombo. Good afternoon, Sri Lanka. How are you? A big applause to our panelists. All right, I'm going to welcome, it has to be ladies first, Soumaya Beya. Please welcome me. Welcome to the stage. And then we have Mr. Jigar. Mr. Kiran. And not the last one, the handsome one, Mr. Jeevan. So, a show of hands in the room. How many startups founders are in the room? The future of Sri Lanka are here. Any investor in the room? Interesting. Incubators, accelerators, policymakers, governance. Okay, you have an eclectic assembly here. All right, so I have this task. My name is Marcel Dridje. I am based in Qatar, and I represent the European Business Angel Network. I'm on their board, and we invest in early stage startups. So the theme today is AI and creativity. So you know, all of you, it doesn't matter if you have a bald head like me, you know, the wisdom guy. I used to have hair. I've seen technology disruptive all the time. And believe it or not, 12 years ago, I worked on an AI project, which basically machine learning, looking at 1 billion packets per second into a Cisco router in the core of the telecom around the world. And that was called machine learning. But today, 12 years on, I'm using ChatGPT to write my LinkedIn post. So you see exactly what AI is doing for all of us. So the theme today, ladies and gentlemen, is all about AI and creativity. And why don't we start with you, my friend Jeevan. Introduce yourself quickly. One sentence, elevator pitch, who you are, at least the audience know who you are.
Thank you, Marcel. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me. My name is Jeevan. I'm a serial entrepreneur based out of Sri Lanka. I started Sri Lanka's first IT park, got a bit bored, then started investing in startups, saw that we were making some mistakes in the startup ecosystem, and then co-founded Hatch, and I have other entities that I co-founded as well.
Okay, my friend Kiran.
Hey, I'm Kiran Kalluri. I'm from India. I am part of a cross-border venture firm called Dallas Venture Capital. We primarily invest in enterprise software products across the world.
Excellent. And next to him, Mr. Jigar.
Hi, I'm Jigar Sagar, a serial entrepreneur, serial investor, and a strategic government advisor. I play at the intersection of policy making and building ecosystems for entrepreneurship.
Excellent. And the last, the beautiful lady out there, Soumaya.
Thank you so much for having me in Sri Lanka. I'm so excited to be here. So I'm one of the founding partners of Rasmal Ventures. We are the first venture capital fund that started in Qatar. We have offices in Saudi Arabia. And we invest globally as long as we could be smart money for the entrepreneurs, helping them and go to market in the Middle East.
Excellent. All right, let's put some discipline around the question. And by the way, apparently I have a pad here, which is a fancy tool. Apparently you're going to be asking some questions, and I'll be reading them to the panelists at the end. So please don't be shy. Just go ahead and interact with us. So as we know that AI is helping us to code today. Can you believe that you can launch a startup without coders because AI is coding? Guess what? It's not just that. It's doing music. It's doing photography. It's doing video, creative movies, and the story goes on. So my first question, I'm going to go to Soumaya. And a very humble question. AI is a tool. Is it a collaborator? Is it a competitor? For creators, what do you think what AI is?
I think it's all of them, to be honest. It's all of them depending on the context and depending on the situation, right? So if we're thinking of, let's say, the writers, right? So now today we can accelerate everything around generating amazing writings, perfect, no mistake in it. And so it is competing with writers in a way, right? So what's the difference that the human being can bring in that table when it comes to generating content? For generating content, we cannot escape from the idea. We need to accept the idea that it is competing with AI in a way. But on the other hand, we can look at it differently. So it depends how you want to position yourself with AI. Do you want to make it a tool so that you are a writer, but you will be using AI in order to have that one idea that only you can imagine, and you will be using those AI tools to put it out there, or you will be just outdated or let's say in panic mode because actually it writes so well, and maybe you don't see all those perspectives that AI sees, right? So I think the way we position ourselves, the confidence on what you bring on the table and how you make it from a competitor to a collaborator or to a tool is really on our mindset. And this is something we have in us still, in that sense. So I sincerely see that it is a collaborator, it is a tool, and it is a competitor in different industries. And I see people behaving with it and using it differently. Some failing, losing business, others scaling and becoming the leaders of the markets.
So in a nutshell, Soumaya is saying, embrace AI. And where I sit, I say, make sure that we're using AI in an ethical mode, and we'll come to ethical AI in a minute. So, Mr. Kiran, I understand from your background, you're truly in the creative industry as such, as an investor. And my humble question to you is, what is that most surprising creative output you've seen?
Okay, one of the most surprising creative output I have seen is some of the hallucinations produced by AI. Very recently in New York, in a court, there were citations filed of cases which never actually existed. So AI creating a court case with a judgment for something where a case never existed is truly fascinating, at the time scary. So recently I was advising my lawyer and I was doing my own ChatGPT stuff, but I also told her, hey, check if all these cases really exist. So that's a truly fascinating thing that I saw.
Excellent, excellent. My friend Jeevan next door. What do you see the biggest opportunities for startups, and what is that interaction? Because you're leading Hatch and you're involved in the incubation and acceleration, you're an investor. So from an AI perspective, where do you see it play in that founding journey? Is it a threat to their creativity, or to the opposite, is it an augmentation?
Similar to what Soumaya said, I think it's really your frame of mind to see it as a threat or opportunity. And I think entrepreneurship is all about perspective, right? So you can really look at AI and say, how can I leverage AI to do things better, faster, and scale. And I think we're definitely seeing that in the startup ecosystem. I think we've just launched a multi-agentic AI company. Solving the agent principal problem, right? Where companies are able to do more with less, right? And I think we scaled in 5 different countries simultaneously, which never have I found product market fit that quickly, right? So you can scale very quickly, you can create something very quickly, and I think therein lies the creativity and leveraging AI for the creative purpose of building companies. I think is now easier, faster, quicker, and I think we're standing on this is the best time to build something.
Interesting. My friend is very, very positive in making sure that entrepreneurs should be using AI to their advantage. So let's go to my friend all the way to Dubai over there, Mr. Jigar himself. And I have a question for you. How do founders avoid the hype trap? AI is becoming like a hype. You have multi-billion, even trillion into the chip technology with NVIDIA and the like and the G42. So how do we avoid, to the entrepreneur, how we want to make sure, give them that wise advice to avoid that hype?
Right. I think the easiest way to answer that question is to understand what AI truly is. It's not just a passing fad, it's not just a statement. Unfortunately, what's happening out there is anything and everything that is sort of on a digitized format is being showcased and marketed similar to a lipstick as AI. But on a grassroots level, what is truly AI? It is the ability to automate things. It's an ability to be a tool. It's an ability to have the LLM programming modules enabled, right? But from a founder's perspective, and as an entrepreneur myself and as an investor myself, I go and focus on the why of the business. It feels to me that when I sit in such panels and forums, unfortunately, AI is being spoken about as if it is the all. In the world of business, AI is simply a support system, whether you call it a collaboration tool or you call it a tool or you call it a competition. Ultimately, every business has a purpose of why it truly exists. Some of those can be elevated, and not all of those can be elevated. When you talk about a country like Sri Lanka out here, the challenge here is, unfortunately, the databases are not structured enough. SMEs don't even have the data digitized. I mean, it is still an economy which is predominantly living in a paper era. And trying to sell them the dream and the vision and the idea of AI is scary, because it's exposing someone to something that they don't truly know, understand, and are not even ready for it. So as a business, I think it's all about coming back to the why and the purpose of what's the need, what's the problem you're solving. Now, on top of how to use the tools out there, which are branded in the shape and format of AI, is the secondary question, right? If there's something that you can do, which is, let's say, a service delivery, if it can be cheaper, faster, more efficient, enabling scaling through AI is great. But to say I'm in the business of AI, steer clear.
Interesting. Soumaya, you're a VC, you are Series A, and you're investing agnostically across the world, I guess. You're based in Qatar. Could you share with us 1 or 2 use cases that basically compelled you from an AI perspective? It's not a hype, it's very pragmatic, they're solving a typical use case, and thanks to AI, this company is doing very well, and that's why you're investing in them.
Yes, sure. So thanks or because of AI, now we have the opportunity to see sectors being disrupted. We're not only speaking about enterprise SaaS tool that is coming and enabling and automating and all that. We're thinking of disrupting everything now with agentic AI. Every sector could be optimized from scratch again, which is incredible for us and very challenging to pick opportunities. The way we think of it on our mandate, we try to pick a big pain that has a huge market and there where we could bring value. And so the use cases that we have so far are in fintech, many of them, but the ones that I really love and I see so much value in is a company in fintech. So fintech is disrupted, we're speaking about it all the time, but there are some few still subsectors that are still untouched because there is so much data, it's so complex, every step needs so much engineering, and now because all this is optimized with AI, there is this company that is digitizing the entire securitization problem. Securitization existed from the times bank existed, but we still, to date, doing them almost manually, taking months to do a securitization transaction. This company just dared to use AI, and they are really well lobbied in the industry, and they just are disrupting literally securitization globally. And that's amazing to see that sectors that we were afraid to touch just because they're too complex and a mistake can cost so much, now we're trusting technology to take over those months. Another one is supply chain logistics. I mean, the ones that have an idea about the Middle East, it's a very broken sector. We need to digitize it, we need to improve it, we need to optimize it, especially for places like that are hubs today. And this company actually has this very interesting access to data, because when we speak about AI, we speak about data. Who has today the proprietary access to data? And this team has that thanks to their background. Data of 20 years of logistics of warehouses that they developed with agentic AI to automate every process in the warehouses where you just come in, you have the power of making decisions and everything else is done, which is incredible. So this company started in Asia, now we help them come to the Middle East, and every partner they speak to, they're not believing their minds because of having the right team that has the right lobby, the right ambition, using the right tools to disrupt an ecosystem. This is the kind of use cases that we try to find in our investment mandate.
Thank you, Soumaya. So let's focus all the time about the creativity of AI. And I'm going to go on purpose to my friend Kiran, because I know the creativity means even AI today is absolutely applied. Jewelry design, I know a Swiss company is doing that. Fashion tech, they're doing a lot of interesting art. So the Picasso of this world used to paint. Now AI is painting. So question is to you, my friend, do you think that from a creativity in the art, be it the movies, being the art itself, which is painting, drawing, architecture, what can you share with us how AI is disrupting that particular art culture where you are investing in some of the movies, as you said earlier on? Could you share with us what AI is doing in that area?
Oh, absolutely. And India is a movie crazy society. We produce more than 1,000 movies every year. And there are parts which are being disrupted by AI at every stage of a movie production, right from pre-production to how the camera plans need to be. All the plans are being generated by AI. Except, probably the actors, and there is a certain amount of creativity which cannot be, at least as of now, AI cannot replace. That said, movies, even advertising. I'll give you a small example about a couple of companies I have come across or we are invested in. There's this lot of times you need to do mass customization of your video ad. You might be interested in going to mountains. I might be a beach person. Earlier, what used to happen is you have to create a different ad with a different lip sync involving a lot of costs, both for shooting and post-production. Now, there is a company called Hippo Video which actually does that, automates that. And it does it at a mass scale where it says, hey, Marcel, I know that you like this, why don't you do that? And hey, Kiran, I know that you do this, why don't you do that? So that's there. And the second company I would talk about is a company called Neural Garage, which I come across. Now, a lot of movies are made for global audience, and it used to take a lot of time to sort of dub the dialogues in the local language. So this company actually automates that. And so some of this work which is repetitive, rule-based, is being automated, which is causing significant reduction in the production budgets. there's a an AI movie made fully using AI for $405. So it shaved off a couple of zeros from the entire movie making budgets. But that said, yeah, the best of the directors, the best of the creative guys fail to gauge if their movie that they are making will be received by the audience or not. And AI being something which always drives with a looking through the rear view mirror based on the data which has happened before, it's very difficult to predict how the audience is evolving, what sort of tastes are evolving, and that's one frontier I don't see AI breaching anytime soon. It requires still the human mind, which to gauge and then sort of take that bet, saying that, hey, this has not worked in the past, but probably it will work now. Or this has worked in the past, but still it might not work, let me do something different. So that's where AI is significantly disrupting. Yeah, we'll see a lot more movies coming out faster, cheaper, but it's more on the repetitive tasks that AI is automating.
Thank you, buddy. Jeevan, you are in the heart of the Sri Lanka startup ecosystem. You're basically leading this amazing incubator hatch, and you're interviewing founders to come and join your program. And if you like them, you invest in them. So I'm going to ask you a philosophical question as a thought leader there. Human versus machines. At the heart, AI over there. What is your prediction between who's going to win? Do you think that human embracing AI, the machines, including robots, do you think you are predicting a nicer society over there? Or do you think we have not yet tapped into our human brain to always be on top of the game? Or do you see the machine as a threat? Because you're interviewing a lot of startups, entrepreneurs, and they're going to say this crazy idea, I'm going to be using AI to do this and this and this. So what is your philosophical point of view, human versus machines?
So I think humans need to engage AI to kind of get the best out of it, right? So, I mean, I think what AI does and what we're seeing is, you know, a lot of people talk about knowledge economy, right? But we're moving away from a knowledge economy because you can now get that on the internet, and now with LLMs, it's even more and more addressable. I mean, how many people learn through using LLMs, right? Everyone, most likely. And I think if knowledge is no longer a limiting factor, it's the creative process of using the resources you have, which includes AI, to do something that's creative, and that's an entrepreneur, right? And that if you want to be a true entrepreneur, you've got to use the resources the best you have, and AI is just one such resource that you have to leverage and take forward.
So what he's saying is humans are going to be always on top of things.
Yeah, I think humans will always use things to okay, let me give an example, right? You like examples. So today we have a sales agent, so you can just type in a prompt and you can find, you know, all the top CEOs of, you know, a business, but that doesn't get you the sale. Humans still buy from humans. You still have to connect with the person. You still have to have a purpose behind your business to put it in front of the investor to actually make the sale, right? Just because you have the tool doesn't mean success, right?
Very optimistic, gentlemen. We should not be scared of AI. We should, to the contrary, be on top of it. My friend over there, Jigar, you're involved in this free zone, governance, development agencies, pretty much based in Dubai, but around the region. My question to you is, how are you embracing AI, part of your journey, in selecting those free zones? Do you, for instance, insist of having the vertical AI development incubator, accelerator? So I want to understand, where does AI play in your journey?
I think AI is not a vertical. I've never looked upon AI as a vertical. I have always looked upon AI as simple as what an email or a WhatsApp messenger stands for today in our daily lives. I don't think we need to be scared of AI by any means because you can still shut off the power. On the contrary, we still have economies where power supply is a bigger concern, right? So let's not stress too much about threats from AI at this point. It's not a vertical. Ultimately, the business sector is going to continue to thrive, whether it is healthcare, and how do you embrace the models that are being created. Now, it's pretty much going to come from the creativity of a couple of things. One is the prompts. So you were mentioning your usage of ChatGPT, for example, right? What are the prompts you're giving? That's your creativity, that's your IP, and that's what is going to be unique from what you enter and what I enter. The second part is the data sets itself, on which your models are being generated. The data set you may have access to will be very unique to the data set I or you have probably. And whether we were all building a model for investment identification opportunities, be it at 30 minutes safe note issuance policy, even if we all tried to build the same model, our data sets are going to be unique, and we're going to end up creating unique beasts. I'm not saying one is going to be more superior or not, but definitely they're going to be unique. So what we try to do is we enable founders and startups by truly understanding their workflows and their processes and understanding what efficiencies can be brought to that business. It's not the approach of AI first, it's the approach of business first, and using the tools that exist out there or to be created using data sets that they have access to and build those LLM models, hence, is the approach we believe is the right way for any economic city to thrive, whereby it's ultimately about bringing in efficiencies, whether you're bringing something faster, cheaper, better quality. It's all about scale at the end of the day. That's what's going to bring you success.
Excellent. Soumaya, you're wearing the hat of an investor. Two questions into one. Ethical AI. For instance, I sit on the board of EBAN, and part of our criteria, we call it ethical AI. We will never invest a nickel or a dime in defense tech, as an example. And we know that defense tech in Europe now is the largest growing sector. Billions are being put into it, but we decided we're going to be touching it. So ethical. So as a VC, could you share with us your philosophy about ethical way you're not going to be investing? Second question, quickly, what is your prediction in the next 5 years? Where are we going with AI? And from an investment perspective, what are those use cases you're planning to invest? And you're seeing AI coming to disrupt?
So, independently from artificial intelligence, right? When we speak about sectors, some might be more ethical than others, some make sense to the mandate than others, right? So independently from AI, as a venture capital fund, we identified some sectors we see a lot of value in, and we decided to, shade away from the sectors that would bring any harm to humanity, any harm to human beings or to any beings in the planet, right? Whether it's on defense tech or food tech or any, for example, we passed on a wonderful opportunity to invest in a great team and in a great potential of scaling in a company where one of the consequences of their value, that is a value that has a lot of benefits for the ecosystem, one of the points was that they're going to be produce more plastic. So we loved everything about their offering, and then we realized that actually it's a machine of creating plastic. And when we asked them the question, do you have a mandate to change this? Because it impacts the business model. The margins will be thinner, so the business won't be as exciting and as scaling if they will be implementing any change of the plastic. And so they said, yes, generally we appreciated the honesty, but we didn't feel comfortable pursuing the opportunity. Well, it's our loss. I think the company will be doing great. It's just sometimes you make some decisions in that sense. So we don't have a chart, Marcel, where we say we're going to be investing in this or in that. It's a case-by-case scenario where we genuinely, as a team, decide to back the ones that we think won't really harm one of the major pain points that we're living as a human beings today. So this is a nutshell. So now, artificial intelligence comes to every sector and enhances every sector. Sometimes it's actually a great win, where they might have solutions to replace any harmful tools to use, etc. So it could be actually a solution to make some sectors more friendly. And sometimes it just accelerates defense tech for more harm, et cetera, et cetera. So we are friendly to that, sensitive to that, but with or without AI, it's just a matter of supporting some things that make sense to our values. Now, predictions for the 5 years. Definitely, the world is changing so fast. And on a macro level, on a micro level, we are not recognized as places we're visiting anymore. We're seeing problems we never saw before. It's a super exciting time for VCs to be investing. I mean, the VCs that are the most successful, I think, historically, are the ones that are born or investing in downturns and crisis times, etc. So we have that opportunity to back some solutions. We hope, and we're working hard on being part of supporting the disruptors in every sector that are led by AI or without AI or whatever is the sector, how it could be disrupted. This is what we want to be. We want to be part of that wave in that sense. So predictions, I definitely think a lot of sectors will be reborn in a nice way. A lot of sectors will be optimized. Fintech, supply chain logistics, health tech. We're seeing innovations like never before, and we want to be part of enabling that transition for a more efficient world where we bring creativity, we bring values, we bring mindset, we're the drivers, but everything else that is not exciting or stimulating for our brains is being taken care of with AI and with the innovation that is happening.
I just want to add just to what she said. I think the values are important, right? So just to the founders out there, what you build is interesting, but how you build it and why you build it is probably more interesting. So make sure you have a transformative purpose of why you're building. And I think that, with whatever you do, I think it's important.
I have another philosophical question to all of you, and I start with you going all the way there. There is some young generation out there, and they're starting or finishing their studies, and they are hearing, they've been blasted, AI, AI, AI. What kind of wisdom type of advice you can give to these youngsters by saying how they should embrace AI into their future career? So what are those areas that you're seeing that maybe they should pay attention to? I'll give you a good example. A long time ago, a youngster came to see me and he said, what are those future jobs that I should be looking at? And because I saw the digital transformation happening at that time, I mentioned this word, but I never knew what the job was. And I said, I think digital influencer will be an amazing job. But was I lucky to say that? I don't know. But it happens. So from an AI perspective, what are those kind of wise advice for the new generation to say how they would be using AI, and what are those future jobs you see yourself advising them?
Obviously, in AI, there's different areas: computer vision, generative AI. I think specializing in some of that area is good, and also building the rails like ML ops. Etc. is also very important, right? Data engineering. There's even just prompt engineering. If you focus on it and you specialize in it, I think there's a huge opportunity. So I think just taking one thing and specializing and becoming the best at it, knowing what game you're playing with your purpose, etc. Right? So if you're looking to build scalable systems in, I don't know, in security, it might be computer vision, right? You want to start learning and focusing on computer vision. So it really depends on this thing, but I think my general advice would be take one area, specialize in it, go deep.
Thank you. Kiran?
I would suggest build your passion, follow your passion. At the same point of time, be conversant with AI tools and AI methods which can help you become more efficient, faster in the area of your passion. Just to give you an example, Marcel, you earlier touched about AI impacting fashion, AI impacting jewelry, right? Now, can you use AI to build those micro variants of dresses, micro variants of jewelry, which would more appeal and fit to an individual taste? Create it to an individual taste and do it at a much lesser cost. And there are already startups which are doing that. Okay, can you sort of automize and hasten up the speed of figuring out as to how that particular thing would look, how that color would look, how that design would look for each of the body fit types, right? This is just one example. If you are passionate about cooking, figure out how AI can help you deliver better dishes and deliver better customer service. So that is my one advice, saying be conversant with all that is AI. You don't need to do PhD in AI, but follow your passion, leveraging AI.
Excellent.
I would like to say there are two types of audience out here. One is the one who is in the sphere of building AI tools. For them, I would say you need to probably focus more on the content creation element. So if you look at what Canva was doing, is it enabled more people to become designers than they even knew. So something along those lines. So create tools which will enable content creation. And on the flip side, I would also say localization is the key, whereby you're looking like for tools such as Dubverse, etc., where translation is possible, editing of podcasts is possible in minutes compared to hours prior to those tools existing. So if you're in the sphere of building AI tools, focus on localization and content creation. Now, if I'm talking to the founders on the other side of the table that are coming from different sectors and segments, chuck the word AI into the bin and come back to the table, because what you need to be focusing on is your business and looking at what tools are relevant, feasible. There's no point of you having a Rolls Royce if a cycle can do its job, and spending too much money just bringing in tools which are never going to be fully utilized either. So for the founders out there, focus on your core business. Look at tools that are available out there that enable efficiencies into your service delivery. For you, I would like to say, let AI and digitization and automation deal with the how. You hold the why close to your heart, because that's where creativity comes out of.
I think the gentleman covered the most important parts, so maybe I'll complement more on the psychological part of things. Don't be scared of AI. It's not something to scare you. It's something that, it's the future. It's our current present, and it's also the future more than anything. I truly believe that, AI-powered solutions and Bitcoin are the future. And so just understand your future. If you want to be a contributor to the future, if you want to be a leader in that future, you need to understand its mechanism, how it works. And just using the tools, being curious is already a big win, but stepping back and understanding what are the drivers of every solution you use, what are the drivers of AI, how can you be the one contributing to this solution that you're passionate about, that you care about, to improve. So be just super curious and learn and use and try to be, disrupting even the way that AI is evolving. Because you guys have, we also have that power of contributing on in which direction the AI is, but the future is on your hands, and it's the future of our children's hands, right? So they need to be aware and responsible of deciding to be part of impact, not just receiving what are the consequences of all those solutions that we're creating today, but also feeling powerful enough to impact how, we will be using those tools and AI and all this.
Thank you very much for the panelists. We're going to be opening shortly the Q&A. I don't know if the organizers are here to help me, because the pad, there's no questions there. So I don't know how it works, but I'm more than happy to come along you with the microphone. If you have a question, just you have to show me your hands. But the way I summarize this panel about AI and creativity, I am convinced that all the feedback that the panel gave you, AI is a creator. There's no doubt about that. It doesn't matter what field you are in. AI is creating. I'm going to give a message and advice to those wannabe entrepreneurs. Think about how you're going to monetize that creation. I think this is the biggest challenge that all the creators out there, they know AI is creating art, is creating music, is creating code, is even creating startups. So we all agree on that. But my advice is not about having doubt about how AI is creating. It's how you're going to be turn it into a model to be successful from a go-to-market strategy and monetize it. That's what I feel at the end of this panel. So If I don't see any question, apparently it's on this pad, I don't see any questions, so if technology is letting us down. So, do you have a microphone to the room? Yeah, please. Can you send the microphone then? So who is waiting to send the first question, and either to the whole panelists or to one person in specific? You have one there.
So my question was, y'all mentioned the why and the how, and don't think too much about the what. I've read a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek, and I find it a very important book for most entrepreneurs, right? I just want to know your thoughts on what y'all think is important about the why and the how, and what you have learned in your journeys. So, yeah, if y'all could speak a little bit more on that.
Okay, I'll go first. So I think the why is what's going to differentiate you, right? And give you the purpose. Because doing startups is extremely hard, you know? You're going to eventually hit a brick wall, right? And if you don't have a strong purpose, right, you're not going to be able to figure out a way around the wall, right? You'll pretty much be like, why am I doing this? This is not important to me. So, you know, Simon Sinek is a very good book because it tells you the most important thing of, and the story that you tell, and it's also important when you go to investors, because the investors will then see your genuine need to kind of build this and why you're building this, right? So if you don't have that story right within yourself, if you don't know why you're doing it, if you're just doing this because you think you can make money, people aren't going to support you, you're not going to get people. And the most important thing of a startup founder is getting other people on board with you, right? So if you don't know yourself of why you're doing something, it's very difficult to attract people on board.
I would say to you that the why can be simplified in terms of either you're solving a problem or meeting an unmet need or desire. Ultimately, from a bottom line perspective, it all boils down to that. You may be intending to do it for the purpose of money, and like Jeevan rightly said, that would be the worst case scenario if you even approached it from that manner. But the minute you try to solve a problem, what's going to happen is that you may even it might be you or the universe solving that problem, and you'll have to pivot. And that's why you need to have your North Star aligned to why you're doing. And usually, if someone wants a tip out there, try to do something that is going to solve a problem or meet a need, not for this generation, but for generations to come, because usually the true success comes in the form of leaving legacies behind, not in the form of solving a problem today only.
Again, just to add what Jeevan and Jigar said, you will face a lot of hurdles during your journey as a startup founder. Unless you have that conviction and you are solving a real problem, it is difficult to sustain through those troughs. So you have to be really convinced that it's a problem to be solved, and also you should have people around you convinced that it's a problem to be solved, so that you can ride out through that journey, and the other benefits will follow.
All right. Do we have any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? I have one more thing. Yes, I'll get right to you. I have one more thing just to ask. How many startups are here? Raise your hands up. Higher, 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 higher. This is not an auction, don't worry. All right, let me give you all a small piece of advice, right? I'm a startup myself. We have a lovely set of dignified panelists right here. The questions you want to ask for the banks of knowledge they have, if I were you, I would ask the questions. I would stand up, push myself up, take that courage. For the introverts, you all have a scan QR card scene, okay? You all can do that. For everyone else, please stand up, voice out your opinions, and pick on their brains. I mean, they're right there.
Good evening, all of you. I am Chandrika. I am going to ask about the education side. We are lecturers from that Mahavali College of Education. I have to know, how can AI leverage to promote equity and inclusion in education, especially diversity? Can you explain, ma'am, Soumaya?
So it's all about AI and EdTech, and in that sector, it's all about equality, and it's all about diversity? How can AI make sure in EdTech can be used?
Yeah. So EdTech is a very important sector. It's true that it's one of those sectors that we had a hard time seeing scaling outside of a couple of success stories we saw in the US, but it's definitely a very, very important and interesting sector that we also look at very closely, right? Now, inclusion is, again, I like to separate things. Independently from artificial intelligence, when we as a community believe of inclusion, we will reinforce those values and care about them and take them into consideration in every step, right? And there are educational solutions that are out there that help with those things. It's excellent and exciting. And like any tool, artificial intelligence is helping amplify this desire of having more inclusion, right? So we see some technological, offerings out there that help educational systems track inclusion, help people that are minorities speak up about what they're saying. We see a lot of manifestations of using AI to help inclusion that are amazing and great. Now, I think the challenge we see the most in EdTech is finding the business model that would scale it faster. And I think entrepreneurs are hustlers, and when they really believe in with a strong why, they won't give up until they find the right business model with the inclusion offerings to scale such businesses in a more sustainable way, I would say.
I'm no expert, but I just one word: hyper-personalization. At one point, when people got sent to school, it was very cookie cutter, right? Everyone learned from one teacher. It was in the classroom, etc. And then they just kind of discovered, there's people, like students learn differently. Some are audio, some are visual, etc., etc. And now AI gives you the opportunity to hyper-personalize your content to each student, and that thing of having no student left behind kind of thing becomes possible. I'm excited about that. I don't know much about it, but yeah, I'm excited about that.
Just to add a comment, the GCC as an example, that a region where we're based, we know it very well, it's one of the highest. It's a fact. It's nothing to be worried about it. The highest rate of autism as an example. And there's a lot of startup, be it in KSA, be it in Dubai and in Qatar, because they acknowledge the fact that this is a big issue. And one of the startup I mentored, it's called Autismo, and basically they are using an interesting AI model with 3D to help those autist children to go on flight and not being worried, because they tend to get a bit worried as they're traveling with their parents. And this solution gives them like a VR goggle with AI, and apparently there's a 99% chance that kid, for a 6-hour flight all the way to the US or to Europe, it's much more calmer, much more serene. So we're seeing that type of diversity, percentages of some, I call them the rare illnesses around the world. And trust me, AI is right there in the forefront to resolve those type of issues, especially in education, because most of the system around the world, we are really targeting education to what we call normal children with a normal understanding of the curriculum. But I'm really excited that AI is stepping in to resolve most of those use cases. Anybody else? We have another 5 minutes. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I'm Ahmed.
Can you speak loudly, please?
Hi. Audible? Yeah. I'm Ahmed from Axel. This question is to Mr. Jeevan. So since vector agents found product market fit so early, how do you and what do you think of scaling into different regions, business and cultures where customization is high and at the same time you need to build MRR as well? So what do you think of that?
So it's all about scaling into international marketplaces and heavy customization to go into different markets. So I'll give you only my humble feedback and then I'll let you... I invested the north of maybe 25 startups, and I sold all my career around the world. I visited 85 countries, and I tend to sympathize about your question, because indeed, entrepreneur in general, they're trying to solve a problem. Most of the time, they're thinking local. Most of the time. This is nothing to do with Sri Lanka. This is nothing to do with Qatar. This is around the world. When an entrepreneur has the aha moment to resolve a problem, most of the time they're thinking about their region. And then they get stuck with the idea how they can scale it on a worldwide basis. That's why when I mentor founders, I say, for God's sake, you are resolving a local issue, but think global from day one. And you will have less problem on customization. Just go ahead.
So good question. I think it's a problem that most startups from Sri Lanka face, right? How do you access global markets, right? And I think one of the things I want to say is there's a huge network here, right? Like where there's angels, there's incubators, accelerators, all of these people trying to help you kind of scale. But beside that, like I think when a startup starts, right, initially most startups have to do what's called founder-led sales. Okay, the founder has to figure out whether his product is going to meet product market fit, right? Very simply for you. The next stage, once you found product market fit, you probably have to then figure out how to scale your sales team, right? And then you have to figure out how to increase the funnel into that sales, And there's a process to that, right? Measuring CAC, measuring LTV, and all of this is thought, and there is a process. And it's different for different startups with different segments. So it really depends on your startup and stuff like that. And we can happy to have a chat after this and kind of maybe give you more.
The last question, and I insist it has to be about AI and creativity. We're more than happy to discuss offline any startup challenges. But the last question, please, creativity and AI, and what is specific that question to the panelists?
Yeah, with increased digitalization, AI and automation, will AI tutors replace the human lecturers and teachers in the future?
Did you hear that question? Okay, you want to take it?
Well, technology will play a role, but I doubt if AI would take off the human intervention needed in the field of teaching and coaching, because every student is different, every student's needs are different. Okay, there are things which can be delivered at a mass scale using technology, but there are those nuances which needs to be hyper-personalized, where human intervention is definitely required. So,
okay.
Excuse me, sir. Just to add to it, I think from the perspective that my colleague over here is mentioning about it from a teaching perspective and whether AI is going to disrupt it or completely make human beings irrelevant. The question you have to ask yourself is that what was your why, which is were you just solving a functional problem, which is a repetitive task? And I can assure you, if it is not already the case, it will be before the clock runs out tonight that there's someone else in this room who's going to bring in a tool that eliminates your need. So you're no longer solving that problem because that problem has been solved more efficiently by someone else. So that's the time that you need to pivot.
Thank you. And sorry, Soumaya, but we've been asked to respond to one of the questions online here. So you're going to be the last one to finish. So will AI replace us and reduce the future entrepreneur creativity by making the work easier?
I think not in the 5 years that are coming. We still have room for bringing creativity. I think we might be replaced, I don't know. There are gurus in AI that have double PhDs in such subjects that wrote so many books, and we know that some of them think we will be fully replaced and we need to stop AI right now, and others think we will be always the driver. We don't know. I personally, as a venture capital fund, believe that I have good 5 years where we still fully comfortable backing entrepreneurs with AI innovations that would solve problems. Beyond that, I don't know.
On that note, I want you to a big applause to the panelists, and more than happy to interact with all of you. Thank you.